Okay, so coming into your body in the moment. I'm just going to mute you. There you go. You did it. Okay, coming into your body in the moment, just feeling whatever it is you feel. I guess I'm going to sit on a physio ball. Um, Feeling whatever it is that you feel and seeing if you can just arrive in this moment without the need to fix or change or improve anything. Just letting it be whatever it is. And letting yourself come into your sense of breath, receiving the breath, receiving yourself, receiving this moment as is. I'm going to do a hand on my chest, a hand on my belly. Just going in for a few breaths. Inviting your whole energetic pattern into yourself for right now, so that if there's parts of you that are kind of wandering off with the grocery list or the what happened before or what's going to happen later, invite those parts to come back in and just participate in this time. If they're still running around, that's okay. But if it's possible to bring as much of yourself into this moment as possible, then do that. So bringing all your awareness in, you have your interoception, your awareness of what's happening inside your body, your perception of movement, kinesthetic awareness, perception of the space around you, and all your senses coming in into the exteroception also, what you see, what you hear. I can hear a cat crying in the other room. And let's play with the theta breath. So the theta breath is a soft hiss, like steam releasing out of a radiator, very gentle. My earbuds are going to cut the sound. But I'll show you. It looks like this. And it's not hard. It's very gentle, very easy. It'll extend the exhale, making it easier to drop down into a parasympathetic state, rest and digest, soothe and settle, a state to process. So going with the theta breath for a couple of minutes. And just if micro movement comes up or macro movement comes up, let it happen, let it play, let the movement in. Allowing the waves of experience to move into you, through you, with you. So it's kind of just a flow of being where you're letting everything in, the vibration of movement, sound, breath. Feeling the movement of the exhale, feeling the movement of the inhale. Sometimes I keep saying this, I feel like the exhale is where I'm really letting go. I'm letting go on the exhale. But lately I've been noticing that sometimes the inhale is actually the letting go. When I allow the breath just to come right back in, that can be a sense of relief or release. So don't get too attached to release or relief being in one thing or another. It could be here, it could be there. Just noticing it when it arrives, when you're like, oh yeah, that's good. That feels nice. Or maybe good and nice aren't the right words, but that feels alive. Let's use aliveness. Or softening. I can soften into this. allowing ourselves to really be with the what is going on, whatever's happening, letting us be with that. So there's a poet named Bayo Akomolafe, and he talks about withnessing. So instead of witnessing, Witness, it's Withness, withness. And we can be in this withness with ourselves, with each other, with this moment, almost like we're holding hands with the moment. We're holding hands with ourselves. We're holding hands with each other, holding hands with the earth, receiving the energy of the earth, holding hands with the air, receiving the energy of the air, holding hands with the water. We're made of water. We're in the fluid existence of being. And then holding hands with the fire, the sun, the life force energy, even the electrical currents that are moving through our bodies, through our heartbeat, through our nervous system. Being with all of that and allowing it to be with us. So from there, let's start to play with, I'm sitting here on this ball, which makes it really easy to move. You may be laying down, you may be on all fours, you can be in any comfortable position that feels accessible at the moment, and you can change as much as you need to. So this is really a movement exploration, which an inquiry practice where we're just seeing what's going on, just allowing ourselves to come into presence. And maybe it's interesting to allow small little undulations, ripples, and waves into our systems. They're happening anyway, but if we stop fighting against them or fighting against the flow within our own body, we can be in the witness of the flow of our own body. So the flow of our breath, the flow of our blood, the flow of our cerebrospinal fluid, the flow of our lymphatic fluid, allowing it all to just play out and inviting in micro movements. So micro movement could be tiny, 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 or it could be small, tiny, underlying and supporting bigger movement, letting it be however you want it to be in whatever position you want to be in. Feeling the container of your body, the skin, the surface, and then feeling deep, what's deepest, deepest within your body, maybe going back and forth between the surface tension, and then the inner body. And allowing movement to bubble up, freeing up the inhibition of movement that we've been taught so well as humans, especially in Western culture, about how to sit still, how not to move. Let go of that, crack off that encasing of rigidity and just let it go, let it melt away. Not that we're suddenly going to go wild and crazy. We want to go soft and gentle, easy, gentle movement for our bodies as we explore what's possible if we didn't know we were human. How would we learn to move if we didn't have our families to watch, TV to watch, all the things? How would we move? So imagining maybe we're like sea creatures or trees in the wind, or like a big field, grasses in the wind. Hey, Michael and Cassie. We are witnessing ourselves today, coming in for a landing with ourselves, with each other, with the planet, and receiving the vibration of witness. And if you're feeling particularly protective of yourself and you're not really ready to witness, you can really enclose into yourself. Always feel free to just come back, tune in, come into yourself, into your own experience, let go of the idea that there is anyone else, if that feels good. And if you're curious as to what to do, just ask, what am I with? What's with me? What's going on in this space of witness? And is there any old patterning that I'm ready to let go of? Is there anything kind of crunchy or crusty that isn't serving me, that doesn't fit me anymore, that I can let go of? So coming in with kindness and gentleness into that place and allowing in micro movement, internal juicy connections, which are there whether we pay attention to them or not. So we can, I don't want to say amplify in a big way, but we can allow them to express and maybe lean into the ripply, wavy movement of being, organic, fluid creatures in relationship to everything. And receiving that intelligence, the intelligence of the earth, the gravitational pull of the earth, forming our bodies, right? It forms and informs our blood. It forms and informs our muscles, our fascia, our bones, our organs. And then within that, there's that rebound from the earth. There's that levity. There's the breath. There's the atmosphere. So we don't just fall into the earth and splat. We have this return coming up, and our tissues are supporting all of that. I'm going to come down onto the floor and I'm going to add music. And this time I did remember to share sound. So if you don't hear anything, let me know anytime. Feel free always to unmute anytime in class. And you can also unmute and ask a question anytime. I'm going to start, this is Ambient Fields. We're starting in the middle of track 4. Oh, sorry, album 4, track 1. Allowing the vibration of the sound to enter into your system, nourishing, filling, and squishing around, almost like a sponge in the water, letting it squish, things wring out, they refill, so that on an inner level, we're rehydrating with this micro movement. We're letting our bodies readjust in a more coherent manner so that our systems are working together, our heart, our breath, our lymphatic, our endocrine, our muscles, our bones, our tissues. Allowing movement, micro movement, breath. And you can come back to the theta breath, the soft hiss, anytime you want. Inviting in wave-like and tentacle movement into your body, into your experience. The intelligence of the skin of an octopus, right? They are incredibly intelligent. They can change colors, they can move. And in our bodies, even our bones are very fluid. They are filled with fluid. Inviting yourself to renegotiate the inner outer space. The inner space readjusts the outer space. I just adjusted the sound and turned it down a little. I don't know if it reflects for you guys that I'm changing that sound. You could imagine that you're pouring yourself around. Allowing the elements to compost anything you don't need anymore. The fluids can wash it away. The fire can burn it. It can blow away in the breeze, in the air. And the earth can just reabsorb it. And the space is just there. It's spacious. You can imagine that the space is witnessing you. The space is always with you. Even when you feel like things are closing in, there's still infinite spaciousness around you and within you. And maybe on different days, you have a different relationship with different elements. Maybe one day it's more of an airy day. Maybe another it's more watery, more fiery. It's like weather. It can shift and change. Maybe there's something new and shiny inside. Something new and shiny that you haven't noticed before or haven't really appreciated before. Some deep phosphorescence in the ocean of you. Allowing yourself to receive that brightness as well, right? That shiny sparkliness. Sometimes we don't think that we deserve things, or we haven't earned it, or we haven't worked hard enough to have the shiny phosphorescence in our soul system. But we all come from stars, right? We're all made of stardust. I've got a little partner dancing with me. It's a shiny thing. The phosphorescence has shown up in my system. If you're not sure how to move ever, just think of the possibilities of like how the wind moves or how the water moves. Like I'm thinking vortexes and spirals. It's not that flow just goes evenly along. It has all sorts of ripples, whirlpools, eddies, waves. Or if you think of air, wind, how is that? Or the shape of a cloud. Clouds can weigh tons. It's such a crazy thought that clouds are heavy. There's all that water in there. Giving your system whatever it needs to sort of balance out, to readjust. And listening to it, listening to what it needs. Often, if you slow down and ask, your body will let you know. Experimenting with different relationships to gravity can shift everything. Even experimenting with different ways of seeing the place around you, like letting your head go off vertical, looking along the floor. Feeling into the waves of being and the layers of being. Like the music, there can be a very busy layer of being over here, and then a really calm, soothing layer over here. So letting your awareness tune to what is most nourishing in the moment. If you notice your resistance, let that be there too. That can be with the experience. And sometimes it feels good to like really push into things. We don't just have to be soft and mushy all the time. There can be real push pull involved in your exploration or in your existence, in your being. So tension can mask sensation. Prolonged tension kind of shuts off our sense of feeling, but it also shuts off the flow in our body. It shuts off the blood flow, the movement of lymph. So we want to make sure that if we are engaging in tension patterns, that we're trying to sometimes give them some relief and some release. And I mean, it's impossible not to engage in tension patterns, being alive in the world. Like they're going to come up. So being gentle with ourselves in our responses to things, in all of our imperfection. Witnessing our desires, witnessing our disappointments. I'm getting a menagerie going here on the mat today. But the cats are adjusting because I was gone most of the day yesterday. So this is probably their way of just coming in to be sure that they balance out the energy system. And then they get jealous. They'll start fighting. Right. And that's life energy. Yeah, I sometimes think like the deeper we get into our meditation, it's like, oh yeah, I'm solving all the problems. Everything's going to be okay now. But it might be, now I'm really just going to feel what's going on. Now I'm going to be able to process some of the stuff by being present with it. And when we dive down and dial down into these parasympathetic states, these slower states of being, that's when our body is doing a lot of the processing, and it needs to process. It needs to process in order to heal, right? Rest and digest, soothe and settle, coming down into the parasympathetic, healthy, vagal tone where we're like, ah, okay, now I can let that stuff move through me or with me. I can witness my experience or my trauma or whatever it is. And if it becomes too much, sometimes you need the support of a friend or a therapist or just nature, going outside and being with the earth, hanging out with your cat or your dog or your partner. Breathing with your cells, your cells, and letting them breathe, letting yourself breathe. Letting yourself breathe in whatever way feels good. Remembering that the inhale can be the release also. I'm letting it in. I'm letting it out. Letting both the inhale and the exhale be as effortless as possible. Your body knows how to breathe, and the less you inhibit it, the better. So letting that start to free up, or maybe it is already really free, and leaning into that freeness of the breath, freeness of the air. Just taking a couple of minutes to process the processing, letting yourself have a sort of shavasana. But if you want to keep moving, that's fine too. Maybe you can feel your nervous system, the aliveness and the vibrancy inside your body. Withnessing your nervous system with kindness and gentleness as it floats inside your body, suspended in this body of water. I'm gonna up and stop recording. So if anybody made it through this far in the recording, bravo.